By the year 2088, the continent of Ravenstag has been thoroughly dismantled. The Great War between the Big House Township and Hogstrom has scorched the northern Struck Desert and cracked the frozen ice of the Westeros tundra. Water is now fiercely guarded, and the global supply chains that once fed millions have evaporated completely. At the same time, the digital infrastructure collapsed. Decades of cascading cyber attacks and intermittent grid failures forced society to permanently abandon the cloud. Out of the crossfire, deep within the ruins of a small settlement called Tinker's Hollow, a rumor has emerged. The shattered fragments of an ancient relic known as the Scroll of Peace still exist. Because the networks are compromised beyond repair, anyone hoping to end the fighting must manually recover this physical, ancient wisdom. That recovery effort rests on 3 specific individuals. The first is Vellum, an elder, neurodivergent data archaeologist, who excavates ruined drives in search of what he calls lost formatting. The second is Echo, an artificial intelligence projected from a gemstone amulet. As completely new code, she views human concepts like friendship and justice with a literal, innocent curiosity, acting as the group's moral compass. Finally, there is Kalen, the syntax sentinel. He wears heavy neo-medieval armor, carries a broadsword, and insists that strict discipline is the only cure for a chaotic world. To navigate a landscape broken by war and compromised data, a group needs physical defense, pure logic, and a deep understanding of structural archaeology. Their route takes them past the Dwarf Song Cavern to a landlocked, secluded monastery known as Tiger's Leap Academy. Outside, the world is a graveyard of ruined servers. Inside the academy, they find a massive sanctuary gods requires clearing tons of decaying paper and collapsed shelving, relying entirely on Kalen's physical stamina and discipline. There are no search bars here. Rebuilding society requires trading the speed of the digital age for the slow, meticulous labor of unearthing text by hand. The next fragment takes them to the edge of an ancient cedar forest, to a trading settlement called the Briartar Northwoods Outpost. Knowledge here exists in a different medium entirely. The history of Briartar is oral, passed down directly through generations rather than written on paper. To secure this piece of the scroll, Echo must sit with Shaman Kunming. Her innocent AI code processes and translates deeply abstract, unwritten human stories into usable insights. True preservation requires capturing the human context and the vocal traditions that give those facts meaning. This diagram outlines their final location, the Void Library. It features 40-foot ceilings and defies spatial logic, accessible only through a portal that constantly alters its shifting physical position. The architecture is secondary to its main defense mechanism. The library enforces a strict rule. Its texts physically refuse to open unless the reader possesses pure ethical intentions. Extracting the final wisdom forces Vellum, Echo, and Kalen to expose their deepest motivations to the archive's judgment. Absolute power remains locked away if the people seeking it lack a moral compass. With the fragments gathered, the 3 adventurers must assemble the Scroll of Infinite Peace under the gaze of Iris, an all-seeing eye suspended in the dark. Possessing the wisdom is useless on its own. The text must be arranged in its rightful form, requiring absolutely flawless syntax and formatting. This chart shows the cost of poor execution. Every sloppy margin or structural error during the review process directly drains your physical energy to correct it. If that energy runs out entirely, the consequence is absolute. Death himself cannot resurrect the fallen here. Under Iris's watch, a single torn page or misplaced line is fatal. Structural perfection is a matter of permanent life or death. When the scroll is compiled correctly, the effect on reality is immediate. The scorched soil of the continent begins blooming back to life. Faced with this sudden environmental restoration, the leaders of the Big House Township and Hogstrom finally drop their weapons and end the Great War. True, lasting peace in a broken world was achieved because 3 unexpected travelers applied meticulous care, proved their ethical intent, and perfectly restored ancient wisdom.